Hi everyone, I am Zeiss, and on this channel I turn you into an RPG master. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure to smash this stupid subscribe button and keep in touch. Now I'm not gonna start here with some intro about achievements that I made in the game and all that, to smear your eyes with damage and all that stupid bullshit that the softcore traders do, okay? That's no. Yeah, your IQ is more than 60 now, I know, and that's one of the major reasons why I don't do build guides anymore. We play the same game, except I only play hardcore solo, and that means I definitely know what I'm doing and know how to manage my scarce resources, so to say. That should be enough, right? Anyway, I took some notes here, what I think about the latest patch of Path of Exile 2. It's one of my main games lately, since the early access came out. And I'm gonna talk about a bit those points I made. I guess you can also read, so you can also read with me here. So here goes, what I think about the campaign, now that we have more acts and the interludes and whatever. Too easy for fighter classes. I already did it with a Deadeye, which was eye shot, by the way, not the lightning stupidity. But anyway, I also tried that. Did it also with the Pathfinder, did it also with a Warrior Titan, a Witch, Lich, and whatnot, so I guess I would know, right? So too easy for fighter classes, too much plus skill dependent for caster classes. I already talked about this before. It's very easy to get damage on the fighter classes, on the rings, on the glove, even on the helmet if you're Amazon, because it has accuracy, on the amulet also accuracy, not just the critical damage and chance, and so on and so forth. Damage on the rings, damage on the weapon, damage everywhere. So why not give us damage on the belt, and because it holds our pants better, right? To take a better stance, to make the attack stronger. Why not on the boots for the same reason? Anyway, that's a big problem, I think. Anyway, but grinding gear games, they know better. So anyway, should be able to change tattoo bonus on demand. Yeah, that's a thing. Like, there are certain bonuses in the game for completing side quests, but once you accept them, you can't change them. Some of them, okay, just some of them. But while minor, like +5 to strength, dexterity, intelligence, and the +5 to resistance and whatnot, that could be a big issue in the end game. Especially now that the waystones are changed and you pretty much have like elemental weakness all the time, or penetration and whatnot. Well, okay, this doesn't help on penetration, but right, on elemental weakness. So that's a bit tougher to solve if you don't pick the resistances, let's say that. Or too big of a headache to solve the attributes if you don't pick the attributes. So let us change this, please, right? Hope it makes sense. Okay, the monkey, the Yabba the White, or whatever his name was called. Everything until then it's physical, somewhat elemental here and there. I also did most of the bosses with 1 resistance or negative resistance. That was totally fine until this guy. This guy, he didn't kill me, of course, but on my Titan I fucked up and it took half my health. Same applies for one of the bosses in the interludes, but I think I mentioned that. Yeah, okay. Fun and easy, yeah, basically. The Prince boss, the one with Zarok, bro, this dude, so much damage on one of my characters, the Deadeye. 1 hit and deleted all my shield, but I have like 1k life below that, so I guess fine, okay, yeah, no big deal. But ridiculous damage on this guy. Anyway, everything else was smooth, interesting, nice. While topping the hardcore solo ladder, I also did extremely slow run, listening to all the NPCs, and the story is actually quite amazing. Bravo, yeah, cool. But then you get to the end game, right? This is where you want to be in a couple hours after starting, so, and where you spend most of your time on. So let's talk about that a bit more. Now, the maps are fine, even with the waystone changes, maybe a bit more punishing here and there if you're running the ones which are too much against the build you're playing. Maybe, but maybe not. You can just not run these yet. or just reforge them or give them to the vendor for gold or resources, right? So no big deal. Initially it could be quite the problem, but come on, at some point you have too many waystones, you can't even pick the ones you're gonna run anyway. Way too much, it's overflowing all over the place. Even without using the waystone drop chance tablets, because that only makes sense on the citadels, right? Anyway, fracturing orb, I noticed, is way more common now, so you can actually attempt to craft something. Because, you know, hardcore solo, it was never about playing all the time with the top gear. Doesn't solve the game in 1 or 2 days. You have to have a respect for the grind. Not only do it, you need to respect the grind, because when you get something, which you're probably gonna get like once per league, if at all, you gotta be, wow, I got this, now I can do this and that. Okay, but I don't get this feeling, I don't know why. Anyway, it's still very easy to fuck up the fracturing orb thing. But what I noticed is performance is mostly fine compared to before, but some areas with a lot of density, if you use a lot of pack size, especially the Abyssal monsters, because there are like too many, the performance is not so great. Sometimes in the ritual encounters as well. I didn't notice this on Breach, even though I've run maps with 16 breaches on it. No problem. But maybe because the monsters in the ritual, they do like, I don't know, too many things in a tight area, and my CPU is 24 core, like 3.6, I think. Oh, why am I talking like this? Wait, hold on, where is this? What does it say? It says performance, okay, performance, CPU, Ryzen 9 7900, okay, 7900, whatever, 12 core processor, logical processors, 24 cores. So I mean, that's no joke of a CPU, and sometimes it struggles. And I notice when you press F1, you know, the graphs you get on the top right, the problem is mostly CPU. So why not give those heavy tasks to another piece of hardware which can do repetitive tasks in bulk very well? It's called a GPU, whatever. As a full stack developer, I'm kind of annoyed by this, because I think I know what's going on. Anyway, fuck this. Let's get back to the other things. Tablets, or now they're basically like PoE1 scarabs, right? If you played PoE1 you would know, but those are the things you put on the map device to buff the maps. Anyway, it's basically now the same with the tablets, which is okay-ish as an idea, but they buffed the values and reduced the use cases because they dropped too many tablets, but not enough ritual tablets for some reason. What I think is, and I'm probably gonna mention this later when I talk about ritual, but ritual tablets, they almost don't exist, and there's only one good one anyway, chance to be omens. Everything else is meh, okay, you can do without it. Anyway, perfect essence, mostly boring, very rare, especially the ones you need, even with the Atlas thing assigned to it, right? Not so great. Strong boxes, weak. I didn't get any good currency from strong boxes, mostly the mid-tier ones or the lowest ones, which is great for those tablets, right? You gotta have those augments. In fact, I can complain about this. There was a point where I had more divines, which is divine orb is a completely useless orb on this mode, because there's almost nothing you can do with it. Because how do you sanctify without the omen, right? It just doesn't exist on this mode. Maybe you get one, if at all, maybe not. But in the first game, there's so many useful things you can do with the divine, like lock the prefixes, lock the suffixes, forbid certain things to roll, and then it actually has some value. In this mode, in this game currently, I would rather have like 500 augments rather than 5 divines, or even 1. Okay, what else? Okay, essences. What is this? Delirium is very easy to mess up. Yeah, that's a thing. If you don't use the unique tablet and you do a juiced instilled map, corrupted, and with all the mods and all that, it just doesn't give you emotions because it doesn't end. That's something very easy to fuck up, and hope you pay attention not to do it. I already did it a couple of times because, maybe it's me. But okay, anyway. I have a very big problem with the Reforge 2, the Reforgerator, the Reforging bench, or whatever it's called. Is everything it doesn't do could be just solved by adding two very good things from PoE 1. It's called the Scouring Orb and Orb of Alteration, because it's gonna save time, it's gonna save star space. Okay, they want you to buy star space. That's why the refrigerator bullshit. Okay, never mind. But I think we can agree on that. Anyway, faster pace is fine, but not great. The only time I didn't have problems when tripping while sprinting was on Warrior. Bro was just running around and he tripped. And there were like those monsters swarming, kicking and beating the shit out of him. Then bro just stood up and one-shot everything. Warrior is awesome. Just saying. Okay, Expedition. Because that's one of the mechanics you first go to, because come on, you need the bases to actually craft something. And use the recombinator. Oh wait, you don't use that much anymore. But okay, you need to go to Expedition to get currency, together with strong boxes, right? And maybe to get those good bases it used to drop, the highest ones, which could drop the highest stuff. No, it's no longer a thing. Now you only get those from bosses. And wow, bro, what the fuck did they do? They took everything bad from PoE 1 while developing the next league, and hey, why not put it in the better game just to fuck up with people, right? Yeah, that's what I think actually. Anyway, so you can't get the best bases from Expedition anymore because it can only be up to monster level 81. And it occasionally can drop something, which if it doesn't work, you have to keep them to reforge them, because there's no scouring, there's no alteration. So until you get the one good affix you want to use the fracturing orb on, you're basically fucked. And your build has to be a boss killer. The time for mapper builds is over. Forget multi-target. If you don't do good single target damage, you are fucked with big F and U and CK and all that. Right. Okay, what else? The good currency from Lush Isle is extremely rare now. You maybe, I don't know, have to run like 20-30 of those to maybe get one thing. No, that's no. You'll have better luck by just spamming Exalt, like just Alk and Exalt the stupid Waystone, then desecrate it, and then instill the pack size emotions on it, or the rarity emotion on it, and then corrupt it and hope that it's gonna turn into tier 16, doesn't fuck it up to tier 14 or something completely like too much against the build you're playing. But then also it has to be, the map has to be irradiated with the tablet, because now that every map has a boss, the Atlas node to auto-irradiate the maps which have bosses no longer works. Wow, I wonder why. But that's the thing for sure. I tried many times, that was the result. I had to specifically irradiate it, and that's such a pointless thing on the Atlas now. But okay, it is what it is. Hope that's being fixed in 0.4. I'm not very happy about this. Don't get me wrong here. I still do like the game. I'm gonna keep on playing it, but those things, yeah, no. Okay, what else? Good runes don't exist on Baron at all. The purple ones, yeah, that's the thing. I don't think I ever got one there at all. You know, this beach expedition logbook where you usually go if you need gold, And strong boxes, those unique ones to get the PGOs, the perfect jeweler's orb, or the good gems and the whatnot. You go there usually, but yeah, good luck. It was easy. Maybe before, but now it's even hard to get iron runes there. The one which increase the defense on your gear or grant you physical damage on the weapon and whatnot. The only good rune basically. Not to mention those purple ones which could be like effect of withered or movement speed or the good ones, the one with the purple color. Anyway, I'm repeating myself too much. Overall, what I noticed, the pinnacle boss of expedition is way easier now, maybe at least 3 times easier, which could be good because that gives you very easy access to the timeless jewels. And for example, the Vorana is pretty good one to give you energy shields and not inherent bonus from strength, which is quite nice. Doesn't matter what you're playing, that's pretty much a very good thing. But okay, and also of course the flask, which it's kinda sad. There is no instilling orbs, so you can't make it loop. That's sad, no? It is. I hope they do something about that. Anyway, let's move on to ritual. Omens in the outer window are now definitely better, and it's now very easy to stack chance to be omens. The rewards in the ritual outer window, the favors they call them in the game. But the tablets in the ritual, like I said earlier, are so hard to get. They should drop like at least 2 times more. At least 2 times more, I think, compared to the other tablets I got. That doesn't look good, and I'm probably not the only one noticing this. That needs to change. That's something that needs to change. Pinnacle boss items drop mostly suck anyway, but the ritual boss doesn't drop the good omens. Maybe if you kill it 50-60 times, maybe once it can drop 1. Maybe not, probably not. Even with rarity, without rarity, it doesn't matter that much. I've proven before multiple times. I've tried stuff with 0 rarity and over 200 rarity, and results were not that different. If they were even different, that's kind of pointless stat. You get it somewhere. For example, you're a caster and you have no use for damage to attacks. You can get it on the ring as a prefix. Yay, you win. Fine. Maybe. Okay, breach. Boss drops suck, of course. They're quite useless, especially having in mind what you can craft as an amulet compared to the amulets he drops. The metamorphosis, mostly useless. You can use it here and there on a bunch of builds, maybe not. I would say a regular jewel or a time lost could be better. Because those things that it can provide it can also be corrupted. It can have like 5 affixes and can also give you stuff like, I don't know, corrupted blood cannot be inflicted on you, or you cannot be maimed or hindered if you need, or whatnot. While this jewel not only takes up the space, reduces your resistances, and you still have to allocate points to get things you can basically get from a normal jewel, so kinda boring and too long of a farm to get and wonder what to do with. I don't know. Something needs to be done there. Those pinnacle rewards need to make more sense. They gotta be something like, wow, I beaten the boss on the highest difficulty and it dropped this. Now I can build this and that build. I can play this and that. Make me, wow, dopamine, my head explodes. Yeah, make me make a coffee. Make me play more than 20 hours a day. That kind of drop, you know? That's not happening now. I don't know. Okay, I don't think there's much more to add to Breach, except the breach splinters are drastically reduced and you are pretty much forced to use the tablet in order to get more, in order to run the boss, to maybe get some catalysts, so when you craft something good and then corrupt it, so you can hope you get at least 1 good drink per leak. Maybe not, but what the fuck, you know where this is going? Pretty much nowhere. Oh, anyway, Simulacrum. Wow, bro, at least they got that right. It's finally doable. It is finally doable, except maybe on the highest difficulty on the last wave. If you draw shit like they have extra life, they have extra damage you are weak against, let's say chaos if your energy shield build, they have a life as energy shield, they do this and that, and then it stacks multiple times, and it's hard. It's hard that it can make you create a new character. But I think it's now way too easy. At least it's doable, and hopefully it also provides better rewards later on. I am not sure about the Megalomaniac, but it was somewhat more useful in the first game because, wow, you can allocate blank points. It can grant you specific things you have no access to, but now it just grants you access to some keystone to allocate points. I mean, the negative side is not so bad, you know what I'm saying? Because it gives you too much for there's not enough negative side. The problem with that and from nothing from the ritual is like, okay, still you can how do I put this? Wow, you can't modify them. It's maybe those are the only things which are worth actually going after, but they almost don't exist. They almost don't exist. Anyway, I deviated a bit. At least this thing, it's way easier and doable now. But this guy, okay, this guy, I've killed him multiple times before. Got me this time once. So what I noticed, evasion doesn't work on this guy anymore. Why? What the hell is going on? I think it did one-shot one of my characters with 70 evasion. What? Are you for real now? And having in mind like half the thing it does one-shot you anyway, this on top of that. I mean, if it's a Souls-like game where you need to display skill, do perfect dodge, perfect parry, or perfect hit and do a combo, yeah, that's fine. But not in an action RPG with farmable bosses, where the general idea is you eventually become the god. I get it. This is Path of Exile. You are nobody when you start, and then you are at the end. No matter how powerful you are still a nobody because something can always get you. That's fine. That's totally fine. I agree with this vision. I am totally for this, but not in this way. Like this is like the rare snakes, the abyssal snakes, bro. What the hell is this? I do get flow interrupters and making things more difficult and more interesting, but not by giving them immunity phases on some stupid trash mobs. So same goes here. This guy, totally fine. Like, I don't mind dying and creating new character. I have the time. That's not the thing. The problem is, this is an RPG and the bosses have to be farmable. Again, if you want to display skill, go play Souls-likes. That's the thing there, not in action RPGs. There's no displaying skill in action RPGs. You just grind, get the good gear and delete everything with, even maybe without a button. I might be wrong, I don't know, but last 3 decades of RPGs I've been playing, it's basically that. Okay, what else? Yeah, okay, that's mostly it, looks like. But I have some notes here about my favorite Chaos Witch, and looks like I started taking notes, but I already made a video about her when I was the highest ranked Chaos Witch Lich in the world before on Hardcore Solo, if that's a thing to be proud of or whatever. But if you want to see why I think it's still bad, go check it out. I'll make sure to link it at the top here on the top left of the screen. You can check that there. But basically there's no blight. What kind of Chaos Witch are you without blight? There's no void sphere, there's no crowd control. to the point you have to use chaotic freeze, which doesn't really freeze well. It's now the only power on this class ascendancy is because it's faster and it's easier to craft certain things. No, but there's no Vermilion Ring, there's no Arrogance support, there's no Hunter affixes like apply curse on hit, there's no Malevolence Aura, there's no actual Chaos Magic like combine multiple sigils into a super sigil. Where's the Chaos Magic? And there's no that's one of the core principles of Chaos Magic, bro. Come on, what happened? Where are the geniuses? Where are the alchemists in this company? Where are the interesting stuff now? Seriously. Anyway, my expectations for future patches, if they don't change some of those things I mentioned, like at least the classes, I'm gonna talk a bit here based on my experience now in PoE 1. Druid is gonna be bad because it's gonna be mostly melee, and because of on that side of the tree it probably won't have access to poison skills. It will have access to lightning skills, which are OP, and cold skills, which might not be that great as like you think, but maybe they'll give it Ice Crash. I don't know, we'll I guess wait and see. But all they're gonna be bad, how I know? Because warrior bad. Come on, bro, give us the Vermilion Rings. I know Blood Mage gonna be way too OP with Vermilion Rings. If you don't know what it is, this is the ring which gives you maximum life, percentage maximum life. So Blood Mage gonna be way too OP, but they can change some stuff here and there to balance that out, right? I think so. Because it's very hard to not die running around on these melee classes with 4 or 5k life. Doesn't matter that they have like regen and block, can use shield and all that. That doesn't help much. Take Invoker for example, the monk. It's very easy to get like 20k shield. Ash, out of nothing, just meditate and double it, why not? And on top of that, it does more damage and it's faster. Come on, are you kidding me here? What the hell? I mean, I do get it. It's a different class. It's a different thing. It requires it's a different fantasy. It requires a different skill set from the player and so on and so on. While it's good in some aspects, it's very bad in survivability, and that's not my warrior fantasy GGG at all. Come on, what is this? Anyway, Assassin, I think probably gonna be good, especially with this Mamba Viper Strike and Dagger dual wielding, especially if they introduce some kind of blocking with dual wielding, because come on, blocking with dual wielding in PoE 1 was great. Why not include this thing? Imagine having 2 weapons and not being able to parry or block attacks with them. You have to use a buckler, which is an offensive kind of shield. That's fine, but Skipter is better. Yeah, okay. I don't want to get too annoying, but probably Templar gonna suck too. Unless they give us Righteous Fire so you can walk around, nuke everything without pushing a button, just by walking. But I think this video is getting too long now, and if I keep on talking, that's gonna be like more of the similar bullshit. I hope you enjoyed, and if you didn't, or if you did, you know what to do. I don't have to tell you, you're not that dumb. But if you did, I guess I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, bye.